Yeah, it's the Glitter Bomb Girls Show. Welcome, everybody, to our podcast, especially you. Yes, you. My name's Robbie-Ann McPherson, and out on the West Coast, 3,000 miles away from me, is Amy Asbury. Amy, what's up?
Hi, everyone.
So today, we are covering my favorite subject. My favorite subject. This is my drug. It is my love. It is my passion. It's my medicine. It's disco. Woo!
Yes.
If we had a soundtrack, like I would like pot up some Bee Gees and stuff. I mean, disco. You know, I'm a child of the '70s, and so there is an element of like the nostalgia and the soundtrack thing, you know, where it was the soundtrack of a time in my life when I was a little kid and I was, you know, bebopping around, didn't have any cares, right? But I also really, really love music, and I'm gonna admit that you know, I've gotten in bar fights over like why disco is so great.
Wait, are you serious?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying I ever decked anybody, but you know, it's like you do the finger pointing and stuff.
Funny.
Yeah, because some song would come on, and someone would diss it, and especially if it was a Bee Gees song and someone dissed the Bee Gees.
I know. You know what? I feel the same way.
Them's fighting words.
I love them.
Right?
Love them.
Now, they had all these fantastic albums in the late 60s, you know.
Right.
With they had like a folk sound and stuff. If you're not familiar with their early stuff, you got to check it out because it's fantastic. You know, they're great songwriters, great singers, and they would do those 3-part harmonies. But then the 70s comes around, and these guys were such geniuses and such incredible musicians, like just down to their bone marrow. So they adapted and they started messing around with like the R&B sounds that were going on at the time, like, you know, the Sly and the Family Stone and the Ohio Players, the OJs, you know, like there were these kind of R&B sounds. And so the Bee Gees borrowed it, and they recorded Jive Talkin' and some stuff in the early mid-'70s. And then came, you know, the moment, Saturday Night Fever soundtrack.
Mm-hmm. That's
you know,
right.
One of the best-selling albums in history, and so many hits off that, you know, Night Fever, Staying Alive, You Should Be Dancing, More Than a Woman.
How deep is your love?
Yeah, how deep is your love?
And I don't think Tragedy was on there. But
no, Tragedy.
Tragedy!
I think Tragedy was on. Was that on Spirits Having Flown? You know, I gotta look.
Yes, it is.
We should like do homework, shouldn't we, for this podcast?
Listen, Night Fever was on there. But listen, I have a legitimate question that's even more important than everything you're saying right now. I have a legit question about the Bee Gees, and I need everyone to listen up.
Yeah.
If all 3 Bee Gees, and I know there's Andy Gibb, actually he was the most handsome, but anyway, out of the Bee Gees, the brothers Gibb, if all 3 of them looked like Maurice, would it have been the same success? Legitimate question. If there's 3 Maurices.
Well, you know what? I'm gonna say yes, and I'll tell you why.
But Barry was so that lion, like.
Oh, Barry was and is. Like
those teeth, and like he was so
total
70s.
Fox. Oh my god!
I feel like that voice.
But
so much better.
But so was Maurice. Like if you look,
I personally was in love with Robin, and I don't know why, you guys.
Robin, I was just. Yeah, I have a Bee Gees lunchbox too. I still do.
I kissed the lunchbox. I mean, I was born in '73, so I was around. I was in like kindergarten, first grade, but I kissed my lunchbox with Robin on it. I didn't care about that overbite. I overlooked Maurice. But
see, I love the
beautiful.
Yeah, and you know, Robin and Maurice were twins.
They were, yes, which is very strange.
Yeah, fraternal twins, right? But I I just always thought that all three of them, and Andy included, I mean, I actually have a black velvet poster, vintage poster of Andy Gibb that hangs on my wall next to Sean Cassidy. We have to devote a whole show to Sean, by the way, at some point. But they were geniuses, and I think Maurice was like, he was like he had a sexy vibe. Like maybe
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
What did you think of Too Much Heaven? Like, what is it? Give me like a little sample of Too Much Heaven.
You mean like, nobody gets too much heaven no more. It's much harder to come by. I'm waiting in line.
Oh my gosh.
I love that song.
Okay, give me Night Fever.
Night fever. We know how. Here's a funny story. I was in a disco band a few years ago because I sing in these bar bands, which I love. And we did Night Fever.
Yeah.
And I had the lyric sheet when we were rehearsing, right?
Right.
And the words on the lyric sheet were not the words that I thought they were. Because you know how the Bee Gees, sometimes they're hard to hear.
You make up your own words, certainly.
Well, yeah, and you think you heard this, but it's really that.
Right.
And honestly, I had the worst trouble, like remembering where I was in the song and remembering the words until I just sang the bullshit lyrics that I thought I knew. So
right.
And people didn't even notice, So I
how
there's a line that I still don't know what they say, where they go, don't need no help for us to make it. I don't know what they say there. And when I looked at the words, whatever it was, I was like, that's it. But it's a fantastic song. And this the producers of all those records, they worked with so many fantastic producers. They had like an orchestra, like an actual string section, and it was not like a keyboard bullshit thing. So when people start to, I think now they've finally earned the respect that they always deserved.
Certainly.
Because there was that whole disco sucks movement, and unfortunately they got identified with that, even though there was bad disco, but they were not bad disco. So yeah, I've been in many bars yelling at somebody about why the Bee Gees records were so great.
I'm pretty sure I probably got in a fight about the Bee Gees, but I just was surprised to hear you.
Well, you know what? I mean, obviously, I've never met them. I don't know them, and for all I know, who knows what they were like or whatever. I just know that I loved what they put out as artistic product,
Oh, yes.
which included the costumes, the look, the band. I saw them twice in the late 80s.
You're so lucky.
I saw them in Cleveland, and I was so excited. I drove up to Toronto the next day to see them again because they were amazing. But they would always have fantastic bands, fantastic musicians, and they sounded amazing. So the musicianship cannot be denied, and it just
not at all.
Songwriting. Sometimes snooty, snobby people will shun pop music as an art form.
Right.
But it really is an art form. And they were just the kings in the 70s. I mean, they were all over everything. Because even if it wasn't a Bee Gees record, right, it was Samantha Sang. Right. Remember? In the words of a broken heart is just in my... Yeah, like these amazing...
Caught up in sorrow. Yeah, really, really good. Loved it.
Yeah, they were... Oh, and then the Barbra Streisand album, Barry Gibb produced Guilty for Barbra Streisand.
He did just such a beautiful job.
Right, and incredible pop songs on that album. And, she's always amazing. But, yeah, they contributed so much to pop radio and pop culture in the 70s. Even remember Grease, the title track?
Oh, great.
You know,
Of
grief is
course.
the word, is the
Oh,
word.
great.
Like,
And you know what?
he wrote
They
that.
act
Barry Gibb wrote
they
that.
also wrote one of my very favorite disco songs, which is If I Can't Have You
Oh, Yvonne
by Yvonne
Elliman.
Elliman. They actually wrote that for her, and and that was on the B side of Staying Alive.
Oh,
Of
was it
the
on the single?
yeah. So
Do
I
you know,
thought
I
that was
never had
just
the
really,
single.
really great.
I always had the LPs.
But and then More Than a Woman, there was two different versions, if you remember, on Saturday Night Fever. One was by the Bee Gees, and one was by
It's Tavares.
Tavares or
Yeah,
something like that.
yeah.
Yeah. So super, super, just love them, definitely.
Yeah, I kind of liked the Tavares version of the recording a little bit better. I don't know. There was something about it that grooved to me a little bit better than the Bee Gees version. But maybe it's because I heard the Tavares version first, so I got used to
Maybe.
that. I
All
made
right.
my
So
father. I think 10. Made my
oh,
father pick me up at school one day because my mother forbade me from
cute.
seeing that movie because it was R rated.
Well, it was bad.
She was
Yeah.
like, "You're
Okay.
not gonna go see some R." But I was so in love with disco, and I had to see it.
Oh,
So I think I just wore my dad down, and he took me.
how
He
adorable.
took me out of school after a half day. It was a cold, freezing day. I think January or something.
What 70s outfit were you wearing?
Well, see, I was never a style
I know,
maven.
but that's the beauty of
So
it. You don't
you
need
know
to
what?
be.
Honestly, I was probably wearing moon boots,
How funny.
and some horrible sweatshirt, and I do remember I had a red puffer jacket, like a red
How
down jacket,
cute.
and I probably had corduroys on. I wore a lot of corduroys,
Oh, yeah, well, we all did.
you
We
know.
all did.
Yeah, and then I mean I was a hot mess, but Dad took me and he tried to cover my eyes like 3 times because there were
Mm,
a lot of boobs in that movie.
right.
But a lot of like, remember when Annette, she reaches out to hand Tony a bunch of condoms in her hand, right?
Yes.
And I go, "What is that?" And my dad goes, "It's gum."
It's gum. He was like, why did I do this?
And honestly, I was probably 17 before I saw the movie again. I realized,
Oh, how
oh, that's not
cute.
gum. Because I never
Oh
understood. I
my
was like, why?
gosh.
Why did he get so upset when she tried to give him gum?
Are you in good, what does that one person say? Are you as good in bed as you are on the dance floor?
Oh
Or
yeah,
something
that was
stupid like
Fran,
that.
the nanny.
Oh, Fran.
Are
Yeah,
you
yeah,
as
yeah.
good in
Oh, that's
bed as you
right.
are on that dance floor?
Oh, yeah, that was like the worst enunciation of the worst tone for that line.
Yeah,
That was
but you know
bad.
that movie too was a if you kind of look at it like something of an art film,
Right.
like not a blockbuster or something, right? It's like a character study. Man, that movie was good. And you get so into it. Like in the end when Tony, after Bobby falls off the bridge
Oh,
or
Bobby.
and jumps. How come you never call me, Tony? How come you never call
Oh,
me?
Bobby,
So
don't tell me
Tony,
that.
yeah, Tony, he's on the
Blame it all on
train and
him.
he's going to visit Stephanie, and
Mm,
and there's just nothing but the music. It's like a music video, and he's just sitting there. John Travolta was so great. He was such a
he
good
really was.
Tony Manero, right?
And he just spent the rest of the night riding that subway
Yep,
into
with the suit,
Manhattan.
and the blood
And the
stains and
morning
everything.
dawned. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
Wow.
So let's take a short break, okay?
Yeah.
And we'll be back in 2 shakes of a lamb's tail. You've heard about the rock stars on the Sunset Strip. What about the people around them? Read the Sunset Strip Diaries, a true story of the rise and fall of a young LA girl working her way through the in crowd of early 90s Hollywood. Author Amy Asbury describes digging her way through a dark home life, studying the cool rock chicks, and finally breaking into the scene among the glittered strippers, hot glam, rockers, and a backdrop of pure insanity. The Sunset Strip Diary. On Kindle, Nook, and paperback on Amazon and BarnesandNoble.com. We're back. Thanks for sticking with us. We're so happy to have you with us. This whole thing is kind of new to us, but it's cool, right, Aim?
Yeah, thank you for hanging out with us today.
Right? I'm Robbie-Ann McPherson, and with me, 3,000 miles away, I'm in New York, she's in LA, is Amy Asbury, famous author.
Hi, everyone. Hello.
And today's topic is disco. And you know what? I could talk about disco, I could write about disco, but there's something I want to mention that happens every year in Buffalo, which is my hometown. I wasn't born here, but I grew up here. And every Thanksgiving weekend, there is something in Buffalo called the world's largest disco. And you have to look this up. You have to Google it, and Google it in quotes. The world's largest disco, Buffalo. Okay, here's what happens. It's the Saturday after Thanksgiving, always.
Okay.
It's been going on for, I don't know, 25, 30 years or something.
It says it started back in 79, but it started as an annual thing in 94.
Yeah, yeah, because there were some years that it didn't happen. But it is a fundraiser for Camp Good Days and Special Times, which is a camp for sick kids. I mean, there is no better cause, right?
Right.
So picture this.
All right.
7,000 people.
Ooh.
In the Buffalo Convention Center, which is a giant dance floor. 7,000 people. Almost everyone, I'd say 99% of the people, and I mean that, 99% of the people are in costume. Disco costumes, 70s costumes. And the creativity, you know, sometimes two guys will come as like the Chips guys, Ponch and John, you know, like people. I go from a different era every year. Like I do something different every year. But everyone treats it like a giant costume party. And they have a VIP section in the basement where, you know, there's like old 70s couches and signs and stuff from 70s Buffalo. And it is just one of the most fun events on planet Earth. And like, I don't mean that in hyperbole. I mean that literally.
Wow.
It is a blast. And they've raised, something like over $4 million for the camp through this event. And just a huge, giant disco ball hung up on the ceiling, and great sound system. And they have guests every year. Oh, and by the way, this past year, they had Dolores and her name just flew out of my head. What
does she look like?
From Real Housewives of New Jersey, the pigtails.
Oh, Margaret.
Oh my God, Margaret! How could I forget Margaret?
Yeah.
So Dolores and Margaret were there from Real Housewives of New Jersey.
Oh, goodness, that's great.
It was really cool. Yeah, and I got a picture with Dolores. She was very nice and really pretty.
Never knew this
in person.
Oh. She is really pretty, though. I think she is really
pretty.
But
you know, some people on TV, they look different or something. You know, she was lovely, and I didn't really get to interact with Margaret, but she looked great too. And then they have guests. They have like 70s TV stars, you know, that come, and you pay to take a picture with them, and it's a fundraiser, right? So it is just one of the greatest things in this world. And the guy that runs it, Dave Piotrowski, he's a well-known guy in Buffalo, but man, he does a great job every year. The coat check, getting drinks and having enough bathrooms, and like the function of the event is just so great. But man, you hear these disco tunes and you just shake your booty all night long. And so anyway, I got to thinking, there are no more dance clubs.
Ooh. Right?
Think about it.
I mean, no, I think there probably are. Do we just not go to them?
There aren't any here. Not in Buffalo.
Oh.
I know there's
here, I'm sure.
there's a retro club in New York that someday I'd love to go to. And when you and I were in New York a couple of years ago on our awesome vacation.
Of course.
And by the way, check out the pilot episode if you want to hear how Amy and I became besties.
Of course.
It's kind of a goofy situation. But we went to New York a few years ago, and it wasn't open when we were there. But they spin like 80s and 70s music and stuff. But what happened to the dance clubs?
You know what? That's a question for another day, but I don't, maybe it's easier to do it online now for people to meet, and there wasn't a big market for it, maybe. I really do think there's still are dance clubs where I am, but as far as it's out there, I don't know. But I do have a question for you.
For me? All right, lay it on me.
What are your top 5 disco songs? I need the top 5, and before you tell me, let me tell you what Rolling Stone says are the top 10, and you tell me if you're going to agree with any of this.
Okay.
So they're saying,
because I am the queen of disco, just so everyone knows.
I want to hear what you have to say. So a couple years ago they did this, but they polled readers, and they're saying that Chic's La Freak is number 10.
Okay.
I do like that song. I don't know if it's number 10. Bee Gees' Night Fever is number 9.
Well, I don't know. That might.
I don't know about.
I might want that to be higher on the list, but okay. But
number 8, Don't Leave Me This Way. I feel like that should be like 4.
Oh God, that's a great song.
That's in my top 5.
The beginning with the harp, and her going. Oh my God. Woo! Yeah.
Because I needed like a lot of time to like walk down the stairs and like.
Oh yeah.
Anyway. Okay, so number 7 is Bee Gees' You Should Be Dancing. That's actually
7. No, I put that higher too. Wow, I'm really curious.
Oh, you like it more? I like it less. It's good though. Okay, the Tramps' Disco Inferno. I do laugh a lot at this song because he's screaming so crazy.
Right. And I love his little, but I also love his little inflection. It's such a fantastic vocal. The Tramps.
All, everybody get
and he's all, listen.
Okay,
he's got some really great.
And then you know what? If you look at the Tramps, there are 18 or 19 members. It's like Lisa Cult Jam and Full Force. Wasn't there another production company? Anyway, it's a lot of people in the Tramps. Okay, let's go into the next song. This is what the readers of Rolling Stone said. "Miss You."
Oh, the Rolling Stones.
Oh.
Okay, that's a disco song, but I would not put that in the top 10 disco songs. Like, that's a great song, but
it's not there. And then Donna Summer, "Last Dance" is number 4.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I bet that
impresses me because that's when the club would close.
I know that's always the last song at the world's largest disco. By the way,
"I Feel Love" by Donna Summer is number 3. Gloria Gaynor is number 2.
Oh, yeah.
I Will Survive. I just have heard that song too many times, but it is a great song. And according to Rolling Stone readers, number 1 was Bee Gees' "Staying Alive." So what do you think are the top 5? Let's do your top 5, Robbie.
Okay. Well, I mean, all due respect to the Rolling Stones.
Of course.
I love that song, but I don't think it belongs on that list.
Yeah.
I don't know where Dancing Queen is. I mean, Dancing Queen's got to be on that list somewhere.
Okay.
ABBA. You can't have a disco top 10 without ABBA.
Okay.
That's my first comment.
Okay.
I mean, it would be easy to just fill the whole top 10 with Bee Gees tunes.
Yeah.
But I also think there are other songs that are less obvious maybe, but that that just have such a great groove to them, like like "Rock the Boat." I mean, that's like a really cool, that song is just so cool and it's fun to dance to. And like you can totally picture, talk about disco, like you can picture like Soul Train. Remember that show?
Of course.
God, I loved watching Soul Train. These people just they were so cool. And yeah. I would just sit there and watch them like, God, I wish I was old enough to do. And my babysitter Kelly would come over and show me how to do things. Shout out Kelly. She would show me how to dance, and do the LA walk and stuff. But I don't know. I'd say maybe take out Miss You and add ABBA, Dancing Queen. I think there's some other Donna Summer tunes that might fit. You know, I mean, she was one of the greatest singers ever. I'm trying to think
of yours. I'm going to tell you a couple that I think should be in top 5.
Yeah.
And I hope this is from the 70s. It could be the early 80s, but Diana Ross's Upside Down, I think, is just really spectacular. I don't know when that came out.
Yeah, you know who produced that?
Who?
Daryl Hall.
Oh, that might have been early 80s. Okay. What about Let's Groove Tonight by Earth, Wind & Fire?
Yeah, oh my God. Earth, Wind & Fire has to be on that list somewhere.
That's got to be like
September, Let's Groove Tonight. Oh, yeah.
I love Earth, Wind & Fire. And then Cutie Pie by One Way. I feel like someone correct me if that's not 70s, but love that song. Let It Whip. What's that? Daz Band. And then I love If I Can't Have You. I'm telling you, I think that's a really, really great one.
Yeah, the vocal in that tune and the recording, right, with the freaking French horn. Like, who puts a French horn in a disco song? The Bee Gees. That's who, you know?
Yeah.
They produced that one and wrote it.
Really, really great. Loved it quite a bit.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
You know what? My head is all a jumble now.
Yeah.
Like, I'm thinking of all the songs that I love to hear when I'm at the disco.
Right.
I actually think there are some other Bee Gees tunes that would qualify, like Jive Talkin'.
Right.
You know, that's just a killer disco tune. And I always loved some of the lesser known hits on the, you know, like the deep cuts and stuff that they had. But I don't know, man, if we're talking about the top 10 disco tunes.
I want to at least know your top 5. So you got ABBA.
Okay, so Dancing Queen.
Okay.
I think You Should Be Dancing
That's
like, you know, that's a top 5, I think.
Okay.
What about some of the chick singers? Like Thelma Houston, definitely. I think she should be like top 5. The Don't Leave Me This Way, because I mean that song is
great.
That's the kind of song, because of the dynamics in it, you can hit repeat and listen to it for like a half hour.
And then what about Knock on Wood?
Oh yeah, that's a great one.
That was great.
Yeah, and Evelyn Champagne King. Shame.
Oh yeah.
Low down.
And I loved He's the Greatest Dancer. I thought that was
great. Wow, he's the greatest dancer.
I don't know why I really liked
that.
that.
We Are Family, Sister Sledge. I think you gotta have Sister Sledge in that list too.
I agree.
Don't you?
I so agree.
Yeah, and what about like the OJs, you know, Backstabbers, Love Train. I love that song.
And you know it's great, which you don't consider him being in the 70s, but Don't Stop Till You Get Enough by Michael Jackson. Is that 70s? Because that was good.
That was from his Off the Wall album.
That was a great song. Loved it. And Rock With You.
Yeah, because how can you not have Michael Jackson on that list, right? Or even the Jackson 5, right? Can you feel it? Can you feel
I just picture them as the 60s, like Motown, but you're right, technically.
Yeah, that was total disco. And Off the Wall was, even Off the Wall, the song Off the Wall, that was a great disco album.
Off the wall. I'm going to say my number 1, to be totally honest, is Let's Groove by Earth, Wind & Fire. Let's Groove. Like, that one gets me going.
Do.
And that's my number 1. I don't know, I mix around the other ones, but I do think, and I love Second Time Around by Shalimar.
Oh, I love
it. Just
that
makes me
song.
like happy. So
yeah, then there's that whole
little go ahead.
Oh no, you go ahead.
There's a little known one, I'm sure you'll know, but I think it's David Naughton, the guy who did the Dr. Pepper.
Making it.
That.
I I've got
That's in
the
my top
chance,
5.
I'm taking it. No more.
I mean,
No more.
love making it. I think the ones I just said, I think are going to be my top 5.
Yeah. Oh, I love making it. That's on all my playlists where I either need to feel better or I need to be hopeful, you know. Because that's the other thing about disco. It's happy and it makes you, you know, it's uplifting. It's
so uplifting.
It's you know, it's like Testify, you know, it's spiritual.
And you
It's
know,
so great.
speaking of Evelyn Champagne King, what about Love Come Down?
Girl, you
Love
make my
come down.
come
Will
down.
you make my love come down? I liked that one.
Yeah. What and Sylvester, you make me feel mighty real. Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh. Now, can you give me like a little sample of your version? Because I love when you sing. Let me think of one. Can you sing It's Raining Men by the Weather Girls?
Oh, how can that not be in the top 10, right?
Let me have a little bit of that.
Blonde, dark and lean, rough and tough and strong and mean. God bless Mother Nature. She's a single woman too.
All right, that cracks me up.
I hear the sound of podcasts clicking off everywhere.
Sorry. Okay, that made me laugh. And then, of course, Let It Whip by the Dazz Band. I mean, like I said.
Oh yeah. Oh my God. No parking, baby. No, well that's 80s. Yeah, that's really 80s.
On the dance floor.
What was it? What was the Gap Band?
The Gap Band was Drop a Bomb on Me, I think.
They had, well, yeah, they had that one, which should be in the top. There's like 40 top 10 disco songs, and so that should be in the top 10. And then the other one, remember the video? He's coming out of the water with the little Speedo. What is that song? Oh man,
I love the song Outstanding by them. That's my favorite. Outstanding. Okay, but that one, okay, I don't know. Let's see. He did Burn Rubber on Me. There was Peter Love.
My cat wants to join us.
Early in the Morning, Humpin', Dropped a Bomb on Me.
Party Train. It was Party Train.
Party Train.
It's the Party Train. Get your ticket and don't
that was
that
was 1983 technically. I'm looking at that right now.
Well, even though the whole disco era supposedly ended in 1979 when they lit all those records on fire on the baseball field.
It went on a little further.
You know, oh yeah, because Studio
sure.
54 didn't close until the early 80s.
Oh, then come on.
God, I would have given anything to go there. Oh
I feel
my
like
God.
I did. Gosh, we went to all those clubs.
I would just, that was like my ultimate mecca. I was so bummed when it closed because I was a young teenager when it closed, and so I would never get there. And I was just like, no.
Oh, that's sad.
I know. Well, so you know what, Aim? We are out of time.
Oh my.
We have used up our disco minutes.
All right. Well,
you know, but should we have a disco part 2 maybe?
Sure.
Yeah.
We can, you know what we could do? We could talk about maybe the lunchboxes and the fashion and other little offshoots of disco, or maybe some more songs.
Yeah. All right. Next podcast, disco part 2.
Oof.
Right?
That's right.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody, for listening to us. And make sure to check out our Twitter, Glitter Bomb Girls Show. I'm Robbie-Ann McPherson. Over on the left coast is
Amy Asbury.
Yay! We're both authors. Our books are available on Barnes & Noble, Amazon, and Kindle. Amy's got a couple of books that are just must-reads. Sunset Strip Diaries and Confetti Quicksand. I wrote a novel called Taking Liberty. So feel free to look those up and hit us up on Twitter because we want to hear from you guys. What do you guys want to talk about? And any kind of feedback. We love sharing in nostalgia. That's why we started doing this dumb podcast, because we needed a place to put it.
And yeah, whatever you want to talk about, give us a topic. Maybe we'll end up on the show.
Yeah, we will discuss anything. Is there anything off limits?
No, I really don't think so.
Yeah, I mean, we will talk about anything.
We'll talk about it all.
All right, so you have a fantastic day, and we will catch you next time on the Glitterbomb Girls Show. See ya!